now listening to the Zay Moore Podcast.
I want to know what Zay thinks
There's a
about
few
that.
things that we got to address.
Black people got the swag. Black people set the trends. We are the culture. We got a reality star for our president. It's insane. Even if they try to erase black history out of schools, it's not going to erase black history. Because we've been here. Kendrick Lamar definitely beat Drake in that battle. Hands down. At the end of the day, I'm going to keep it real with my people. Because if we don't keep it real with each other, who will?
What's going on, beautiful people? You already know who it is. It's your boy Zay Moore, and I'm going to welcome you back to a brand new episode of the Zay Moore Podcast. Today is October 12th, Sunday, and we got a few things to talk about. We got a few things to unpack. Hope everybody's enjoying their weekend. It's a little rainy out here in the South where I'm at, but I'm happy that we in fall. It's one of my favorite times of the year. You know, it's close to the holidays. I'm a big Halloween fan too. So yeah, I'm just happy that it's getting nice and cozy so we can put on, the Timbs and the jackets and keep it moving out here. But again, I'm just glad y'all are here with me. We got a few things to talk about. We're going to get into an unfortunate shooting that happened early this morning out in South Carolina at a bar. I believe 6 people are unfortunately dead, and many others have been injured. So I want to give y'all some info on that. We're also going to be talking about this guy, Derrick Rose. Y'all know Derrick Rose. He is one of the 10 people who escaped a Orleans Parish Justice Center back in May. And, he was on the run, and he's kind of become a social media sensation. Like people were really rooting for this guy while he was on the run. There was some memes going around insinuating that I believe he was undercover. He was like laying low undercover as a woman, and he was working at Walmart. It was just a lot going on. But I wanted to talk about it a little bit because I think that the outpour of support for this guy is a double-edged sword, right? Of course, the black community is a very supportive community, and we are going to support our people. However, this guy was found guilty of 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder. His verdicts were actually finalized in 2024. So celebrating his, escape and, rooting for him while he's on the run is like, it's kind of like crazy, sort of. Now, granted, we all know that the justice system is not always fair, right, and in favor of people of color. However, if they went to trial and they had enough evidence on this guy and they convicted him fairly, then they convicted him fairly. So, I think celebrating his escape and all of that, and girls saying that they would write to him and send him some money because now like they didn't realize how good he looked. We're gonna talk about it. Also, we're gonna get into some music. Bia did release her new album Bianca in the midst of the back and forth between her and Cardi B, and I gotta say, Bia actually has some good records on this album. I think that she's really talented. I did not know she had vocals too. She can actually sing. She can actually hold a tune. She's not no Whitney Houston, but I mean, for what it is, I did like what I heard. So I want to talk about her album a little bit. And we got a few other, we're also going to get into some updates on Trey Reed as well. But I'm glad y'all are here with me, and we ain't going to waste some more time. We're going to get into these topics. Y'all ready? Awesome. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and start the show. Let's talk about the mass shooting that happened in South Carolina. So the shooting occurred early Sunday morning at Willie's Bar and Grill on St. Helena Island, Beaufort County, South Carolina. It happened just before 1 a.m. when the venue was crowded. And that's normal, peak time for most clubs, 1 a.m. People usually show up around 12:31. So you can imagine how many people were there. And authorities say hundreds of people were present at the bar when gunfire broke out. Many victims and bystanders fled into nearby businesses and properties to escape the violence. We have 4 people who were killed at the scene. So that is 2 less than what I had reported in the intro. So I do want to correct myself. Right now, as far as we know, according to the Associated Press News, 4 people were killed at the scene. At least 20 people sustained gunshot wounds. That's insane. 20 people. Among the injured, 4 are reported in critical condition. Identities of the victims have not yet been released. At this stage, the motive is unknown and the full details are still unfolding. Authorities have appealed to the public for patience while the investigation continues. So no suspect names or official arrest announcements have been confirmed in published reports so far. The shooting is being reported as a mass shooting due to the multiple fatalities and many wounded in the public space. And as I did just mention, we have 4 people who lost their lives, 4 in critical condition, and over 20 people who sustained gunshot wounds. So, yeah, I would definitely agree that this does qualify as a mass shooting, and just thoughts and prayers to everyone who was there, and, thoughts and prayers to the people's family who, is unfortunately no longer with them. It's crazy. As I say all the time, these days you can't even go out and have a good time because shit like this is happening. Excuse my French. I try not to curse when I'm reporting on sensitive stories like this, but it really upsets me that, you could be home just getting ready to go out, have a good time, and just like that, you lose your life because somebody wants to be, silly with a gun. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. And, to top it off, on October 4th, there was another mass shooting that was during a homecoming event at SCSU in Orangeburg, South Carolina. And there were 2 separate shootings actually on campus. And the shootings prompted an immediate campus lockdown, so classes were canceled, and, they were on high alert. As of right now, we know 1 person was killed, a 19-year-old female, and at least 1 male victim was shot during the second incident. So, they just had this happen on October 4th, and now we have another mass shooting again. So, yeah, heavy news. Heavy stuff going on right now in South Carolina. So again, I just want to send thoughts and prayers to everyone who was at that bar this morning, because it's crazy to think that just in a blink of an eye, like you could lose your life simply out trying to have a good time, man. So as of right now, that is all I have on that. Of course, if anything else comes out so far as the victims or the motive or the shooter, I'll be back at it with y'all. Yeah, also, guys, I do want to spend this time to quickly send thoughts and prayers to Diane Keaton's family. If you guys weren't aware, she did pass away yesterday at the age of 79. She rose to fame in the 70s. I know that from her role as Kay Adams in The Godfather. And then she worked a lot with Woody Allen. I will say, a lot of her work was before my time, so I'm not too familiar with her work, but I do know her for 2 movies, one being The Verse Wives Club. My mom used to watch that movie a lot. And she has a movie with Queen Latifah called Mad Money. But, work aside, she was a human. She had people who loved her. And, I just thought it was right to just say, rest in peace, and to send thoughts and prayers to her family during this difficult time. Rest in peace, Diane Keaton. Alrighty, guys. But moving on, I do want to now talk about what's going on in the Trump administration. What are they doing? Because they're always doing something, right? Well, big shifts, really, really big shifts are actually happening under the Trump White House. And they may hit your wallet, your benefits, or your right to know. So this is something that I want to go over with you guys. The first thing is, and you might have heard about this a lot in the news, the layoffs amid this shutdown. So 4,000 plus federal workers have already lost their jobs before Congress has agreed on funding. If you or someone depends on federal services, this is real. I will say, because I flew the weekend of October 4th, and you could feel the the energy from the TSA workers. Like, they were upset. You could tell, not making eye contact. You could just tell that they really didn't want to be there. And you know what? I can't blame them, because who wants to work for free, especially in this economy? You feel me? Like, you need your money. So yeah, I definitely understand why they would be upset. And then, of course, with everyone who depends on things like government benefits and elderly people, people with children, this also will affect them as well. So I hope that they get it together. I really do. Also, we got a drug pricing deal with AstraZeneca that went down. The Trump administration struck a deal with AstraZeneca to lower drug prices for medications covered under Medicaid using a most favored nation pricing model. They're matching lowest prices offered in other countries, according to the AP News. This comes after a similar agreement with Pfizer and is a part of a broader push via executive authority to force pharmaceutical firms to reduce U.S. prices or face tighter limits. As a part of this, the administration plans to launch a site called TrumpRx.gov in January 2026, where consumers can presumably buy directly from drug makers. He's always trying to put his name on something like Trump RX. Like, I don't want to buy anything that is called. I don't want to buy any drug from any site that's called Trump RX. I'll just say that. Like, why you got to put your name on everything? Like, you're trying to put your face on a dollar bill, on coins. Like, get out of here. Anyway, we also have some stuff going on with immigration enforcement and food prices. The administration acknowledges that stricter immigration enforcement is reducing labor availability in agriculture, threatening higher food prices, y'all. A new rule, as of October 2nd, lowers wages for seasonal migrant workers, H-2A visas, and shifts more housing costs onto workers. The move is meant to make labor cheaper legally, but critics say it undercuts protections and shifts burdens to the worker. Also in flux is the refugee policy. The Trump administration is considering reducing U.S. refugee intake for the fiscal year as low as 7,500, with a focus on white South African farmers, a controversial shift from previous refugee targets, which was 125,000. So basically, guys, this food inflation is already a concern, right? It's been a concern since the crackdown of these immigration policies. So if stricter immigration rules raise labor costs on firms, then one could imagine that these costs may pass on to the consumers. And to give you guys some more context of how this is affecting the food industry, according to foodprint.org, around 40% of farm workers in the U.S. are actually undocumented. And these numbers are similar in many other parts of the food system, especially in meatpacking, where undocumented immigrants fill an estimated 23% of jobs. So basically what this says to me is that immigrants play a really, really strong role in the crops and, agriculture and construction. So goods and services that are produced by these industries, it's already been reported that they would see the most significant price spikes. For example, right? I was in the supermarket the other day. No, I was watching something the other day. It was a movie. And the movie was set, I believe, in the 70s. And for a dozen of eggs, I believe the price was $1.49. I was like, wow, $1.49. I went to the supermarket. I needed some eggs, right? So, y'all, for a dozen of eggs right now, they're charging like $5.99. $5.99 for a pint of ice cream. You feel me? It used to be $4. $6.99. And that's not even the worst of it. I'm talking about mangoes, fruits. Like, I bought one mango the other day. Shit came in at $2.09. $2.09, y'all. So yeah, ultimately, the removal of immigrants and particularly these who work in the agricultural sector, y'all, has significantly affected the food supply. That is why we're seeing things like raise food prices because we got labor shortages. It's disrupting the harvesting and processing, that they do, and it's causing a widespread labor shortage. Immigrants, again, they make up a substantial portion of the labor force in this field. So, being that a lot of them are unauthorized workers, unfortunately, that is where the caveat is coming. So I hope that they raise, excuse me, I hope they raise awareness on the H-2A and the H-2BA visas, because these applications can, ensure that, non-U.S. or foreign workers, rather, when they're coming to the U.S., they can perform these temporary or seasonal agricultural labor jobs, right? And they're protected. I do know that the employers are normally required to provide, the free approved housing and cover inbound and outbound transportation costs for them. And I believe the cost for the application is $205 per person. So employers are responsible for filing fees for the H-2BA visa, such as the Form I-129 fee, while the H-2A visa requires the individual worker to pay the application fee, which the employer must reimburse. Other costs, such as premium processing for H-2BA or transportation, are separate and vary depending on the situation. So, I hope that while they're out here trying to crack down on, the people who are out here doing bad and ISIS doing what they're doing, they're also informing people how they can, do right by the laws of the U.S., right? How they can stay here and that they can work, because if you don't know, then how can you do it, right? So, there's that on that. Let's see, is there anything else I wanted to go through? I don't think so. We did talk about, the shutdown and how that is affecting some benefits right now. The administration is drafting changes to Social Security disability insurance, which is SSDI eligibility. One proposal would remove or raise the current favorable consideration given to older applicants 50 plus, meaning many could lose access to disability benefits. The Social Security Administration also plans to overhaul its job database, which is used to assess whether a disabled person can perform other work, potentially stricter in judging people's ability to return to work. Critics estimate up to 750,000 people could lose eligibility, and $82 billion in payments might be reduced over a decade. This is according to the Washington Post. So many Americans rely on these benefits, guys, and changes here, as I did say, it's going to affect seniors, disabled people, families, and advocacy groups. High stakes issues. This is a very high stake issue. It's hard to have commentary on what they're doing without sounding redundant, because again, right, a lot of what we've been seeing since he's been in office is just changes that, in my opinion, point towards the betterment of the administration and points towards, just going along with what they want to do, not per se what works out best for the community. 750,000 people is a lot of people, right? And changing the eligibility, so I'm assuming, right, if they're changing it from 50 plus, that means that you have to be older. And I think that kind of X's out people who are in their 50s who might not be able to work for medical reasons or, injury reasons. Like, I don't think they're taking into consideration the many situations that can cause one to fall upon these benefits. Yeah, nasty work. And finally, we do have the Pentagon press restrictions and press freedom concerns. So the Pentagon introduced new rules requiring reporters to sign a press agreement within a week, acknowledging constraints on what they may publish. While some provisions around pre-approval of unclassified content were softened, critics argue the policy still stifles reporting and could revoke credentials and intimidate journalists. So, of course, this right here implicates First Amendment issues and media accountability. Public access to accurate military national security reporting could be compromised. So, yeah, this is, of course, this has been happening kind of here and there ever since the whole Charlie Kirk situation. Anytime you try to restrict the news or control the narrative, it just says to me that you're trying to keep information from the people and you only want out there what you want out there, which is nasty work, as we know. But what can we expect, right? What can we expect? But that's all I got for y'all out of the Trump administration. Of course, when there's more that comes across my desk, I'll bring it to the show. But I don't want to spend too much time on them because y'all know it gets me mad every time. So that's that. So if you guys have been keeping up with social media, I know you have been following the story about the escapee, Derek D. Groves. He escaped from a Louisiana prison, him and 10 other people. He was the last person that was still on the run. They had captured, everyone else pretty quickly. He was the one who was really, had them on the cat and mouse game. They couldn't find this guy for a while. However, he has been recaptured as of October 8th in 2025 in Atlanta, and he was returned to Louisiana custody. So I wanted to cover him really quickly because he's sort of become like this social media big sensation. Like, you got females now going crazy over him. People were actually rooting for him and cheering him on while he was on the run. And again, I saw this crazy meme where they said he had disguised himself as a woman and he was working at a Walmart. Like, the whole story is crazy. But I wanted to cover it again because I think there's a double-edged sword to the angle of celebration and support I'm seeing for this guy, right? Because let's take a look here at his conviction. So he was convicted in a retrial related to a 2018 Mardi Gras Day shooting that killed 2 people, Jamal Robinson and Byron Jackson, and injured others. He was found guilty on 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder. He had been convicted and faced a possible life sentence at the time of the May escape. He was awaiting sentencing on some counts, so he just slapped more charges, just making shit worse for himself. It's crazy. But after his capture, after he and the other 9 escapees were charged with simple escape, which holds about 2 to 5 years, and authorities said they were considering upgrading to aggravated escape after finding weapons and drugs at his hiding place. He also likely is to face additional state charges, and the existing murder convictions remain in place. So, yeah, it's just more, just playing Tetris. You feel me? Just stacking charges on top of charges is crazy to me. And the jailbreak happened, in case you guys didn't know, that happened on May 16th. So 10 inmates, they removed a toilet, cut through a wall, and fled the Orleans Parish Justice Center in Louisiana. The graffiti left on the escape site read, "Too easy, LOL." That's crazy. How you escaping then taunt? That's crazy. He evaded capture for about 5 months. So I was saying he was the last of the 10 who was still at large, and he was not arrested until October 8th. So he definitely gets the award for the longest on the run out of the 10 because he was not trying to be captured. Relating to how he was found, a Crime Stoppers tip led marshals to a house in Atlanta where a SWAT K9 operation found him hiding in a crawl space. It was like a little, I saw the clip, it was like a little box inside of the wall where he was hiding. It was crazy. He was taken into custody and Fulton County and later returned to Louisiana. So the social media celebrity angle. Right, let's talk a little bit about why this might have became viral. So the video released, posted by the police and news outlets, it showed Groves after his capture blowing a kiss and grinning at the camera while being led to a patrol car. This theatrical gesture quickly circulated across X, TikTok, and Instagram and became a focal point of commentary and memes. The escape itself spawned a wave of internet attention. The "too easy LOL" graffiti phrase was widely shared and even turned into meme content merchandise in some corners of social media. That kind of branding helped keep the story in feeds long enough after the initial breakout. Some posts range from people mocking, celebrating the audacity of the escape to outrage. Many reminded readers he's a convicted murderer, just like, I was talking about. Some users even said they were rooting for him, which drew pushback from others. The arrest video moment, the kiss, when he blew the kiss, it amplified engagement because it's visually striking and easy to clip, repurpose. And as I said, we got some females. I was reading, some of the comments, because I always go to the comments so I can get just an idea of what, the public is thinking, right? And man, I saw a lot of girls they were sweating over this dude. Like, they was like, "Ooh, is it me? Or, does he look good? Ooh, like, can I write him? Ooh, I'm gonna put money on his books." I'm like, wow. I'm just like, wow. That's all that you got to do these days to get attention is, break out of jail. That's crazy. But I just say all that to say, right? We just want to be careful what we celebrate, because representation when it comes to the media and the black community is already cloudy, right? It took us so long to get where we are now in movies and media and things like this. When sensationalized can send the wrong message, and that is what I'm saying. I just don't want anyone to get the wrong message about our community. We have a hard time as it is, trying to show the best of us in the midst of this stereotypical race-built world. So, y'all, try to lay low on the celebration. If you're gonna write, "Oh boy, don't post it." Do what you do when you're, and this to the females who, I saw sweating them. If you're gonna write them, do it, but you don't need to post it, because I don't think anyone should know that. For real. But that's what I got on Derrick Rose. So moving on, and we talked about it a few times, but of course, I've been following the Trey Reed story, which, to remind you guys, a 21-year-old student at Delta State University who was unfortunately found hanging from a tree. Told y'all I was going to be on that. And, I had did some research to see if there were any updates. Of course, we already know that there was some conflicting stories going on. The coroner ruled it a suicide by hanging, but, that it, again, right, because of all of the conflicting stories, the family is standing 10 toes down, and they went elsewhere, and they sought out an independent autopsy, which they should. And as of right now, the independent autopsy is pending release, and I was hoping to get some more information, but that is still pending release. Also, DSU officials and law enforcement confirmed that there are videos from that area, and those are in the hands of the investigation team. That worries me a little bit, because the investigation team, I don't feel like that they're doing what they need to do, and they could be working in favor of the state, right, and not of the family. So that worries me that the videos are in the hands of the investigation team, because it could be altered, or the family might never see it. But moving on, the independent autopsy is still pending release. The family and legal team are pushing for transparency and full disclosure. The FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office have reportedly been asked to review or have involvement, given the high-profile nature and public concern. Public and community pressure is mounting, especially given the historical context, which we did go over here at the show, of lynching in Mississippi. The fear and skepticism of foul play are amplified by that history. So what I will be waiting on and continuing to reach out about is the independent autopsy and that video evidence, because I said that as well. Nowadays there's CCTV footage everywhere. So something has to tell the story of what happened. Like there has to be some sort of digital footprint that can help get this family some more closure. So that's what I got so far on that. Again, there aren't any updates. We're waiting on that independent autopsy, but as soon as I get information, I'll be back to share it with you guys. And again, rest in peace to Trey Reed. So on a lighter note, I know today wraps up the homecoming events for North Carolina A&T, my HBCU. And again, I just want to wish everyone a happy G-Ho. Hope everyone had a great time and stayed safe, because it seems to always be some bullshit going on during homecoming. I wish I would have been able to kind of participate more. I was able to do some on-campus stuff, but between my schedule and the show and everything, I just really wasn't able to kind of be outside, Cardi B style. But next year I will be alumni, so you already know, pressure is about to be heavy. I'm gonna be outside all day. But again, just shout out to my HBCU North Carolina A&T, and happy G-Ho, and I hope everybody had a great time. All right, in the world of music, we got a new album from rapper Bia. Bia released her album Bianca on October 10th through Epic Records. We got 16 tracks. Whole project is about 40 minutes in total. This is her first full-length studio album, as opposed to like an EP or mixtape. So this is the first full body of work that we're getting from Bia. We got collaborators like Key Glock, ASAP Ferg, Denzel Curry, Becky G, Young Miko, Tyler ICU, Ty Dolla $ign, and Khalil Harrison. Notable singles, the ones that are standing out right now are DADE featuring Key Glock. That's one of my favorites right there. I haven't heard Birthday Behavior yet, but y'all gotta go listen to Bad Guy. She really put her foot in Bad Guy, because y'all know I'm a New Yorker, right? So anything that got that New York sound, New York vibe, I believe she samples Sean's. Definitely usually gets me in the chokehold. This shit right here. Yeah, so that one right there is fire. She was definitely spitting some shit. But yeah, Bia, she went on record calling this project her most personal project so far, saying she wanted it to reflect both her public persona and her more private side. And we definitely have a sense of self from some of these records from her. She describes wanting the album to be personal, unpredictable, and timeless. Yeah, and some of the tracks, guys, that I'm going to recommend y'all check out again: Bad Guy, Fire. We on Go 2 featuring Ferg and Denzel Curry. I like that one too. I like Hard Way, and DAD with Key Glock is also a banger. And Trifling. You want to check Trifling out? It samples a speech by Nicki Minaj about insecure men and ambitious women, which analysts see as having thematic weight and potential commentary on hip-hop gender dynamics. So overall, in my opinion, I think a pretty good project. Critically, though, I took a listen to what some other critics thought. We have The Legends Never Die. They rated it a 2.5 out of 5, which is pretty mixed. They praised the ambition and the standout moments, but they did note, in their opinion, that there were some production lacks. And then we have a more favorable review by the Ratings Game Music. It says they say the album is pure confidence, an album that blends strength, emotion, and bold storytelling into one of her most authentic projects yet. And then, we have people on Reddit. Talent is definitely there. Bia can sing and rap. Only gripe is the pacing of the album. 1 minute it's pop, the next is reggae, and it's hard to find a theme. I do agree with that. I think she, I don't know if she had a sip of the miseducation of Lauryn Hill tea, but it was real all over the place. But the songs were fire, you feel me? But again, it was a little all over the place. Fans debate whether the album is perhaps too scattered in genre, which I just mentioned, though many appreciate her versatility. So I think she did her thing. I think in the midst of the back and forth between her and Cardi B, she needed to put out something that showed that she had some sort of talent. You feel me? And I've actually been following Bia for a while, since 2018. I remember when she was a independent artist, really out here just pushing it. So I think it's dope. In my opinion, I would give the album, if we're doing it out of 5 stars, I'd have to give it a 3. I'd have to give it a 3, based on the versatility of the album and the cadence of some of what she was saying. But yeah, I think that it loses those other 2 stars, just as other people are saying, due to the pacing, and it really didn't have a theme. It was just like all over the place. But 3 out of 5, that's my rating. Shout out to Bia. Y'all get a chance, go check it out. Yeah, man, but y'all know what that sound means. That means we've made it to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for being with me today. Y'all know I appreciate it. Before I go, I gotta remind y'all to follow me at the Zayfiles_ on Instagram, the Zay Moore Podcast on Instagram, so you can stay up to date on all the latest with me and what I got going on. Don't forget, we got the Ask Zay segment coming up soon, so get ready for that. You got anything you going through, any relationship questions, friendship questions that you just can't seem to find the answers to, I got it. All right, so send it to me and we'll talk about it on the show. Also, I got to shout out Ireland and Costa Rica. Thank you so much for being the top 2 countries this week listening, and everyone else in the U.S. who is supporting and sharing. Thank you again, as always, and hope you guys have a great week coming up. This has been your boy Zay Moore for the Zay Moore Podcast, and until next time, peace.